everybody. Welcome to the South Australian Sports Show. Thanks for joining us. Hope you can stay with us for the next hour. Plenty of South Australian sport to get through. Libby Hopwood's coming in, of course, one of the leading jockeys, female jockeys in South Australia, suffered a tragic injury. She's going to run us through that and how her comeback's going. Not too far away either, I might add. Hockey's coming in. Hugh Purvis is going to join us. The captain of the Port Adelaide Hockey Club, Sarah Harrison's going to come in. We've got Bowls, TJ Hooper and Bob Cooper coming in. Bob Cooper, of course, inducted Friday night into the Bowls Hall of Fame. We're having a toss-up on the last guest. It's either going to be the lady of basketball, Rachel Spawn, or an up-and-coming South Australian superstar in gymnastics. The two ladies are over there fighting it out at the moment. If you think a week is a long time in footy, well, a weekend could not have been bigger than last weekend for both the South Australian teams, and plenty of controversy. The man that loves to sink his teeth into these issues, Rob Popplestone, former champion of the Sturt Footy Club. In fact, he played at Traralgon, 24 years later than your first game.
I did.
And I might say it looked like you've pulled up okay.
Well, you know what happened was, it's amazing how times change, because I rang up the president of the Traralgon Football Club at 47 years of age and said, listen, I want to play one more game. Please, Marty. He said, Poppy, you know a week's a long time in footy. It's been 24 years. Can you come down and run the water for us? I said, yeah, I could run the water for you. So I ran the water for the reserves. I'm looking through the reserve side thinking, I'm going to run rings around these guys. I want to run rings around them. And then I started to think, you know what, I only have to play 3 games to qualify for the finals. The senior team was unbeaten and hot. Have we got time for this story?
Can you make it short?
Okay. And to cut a long story short, there was 3 games to go. I had it in my mind I'd play 3 games, I'd kick 5 coming off the bench, I'd start forward pocket, I'd kick 8. Third game, I'd probably get put up to the seniors and I'd have a dream finish playing the premiership. I sat on the bench, first game reserves. I ran out there, chest pumped out. I was feeling good. I couldn't get near the ball. It was embarrassing. Truly, it was the most embarrassing performance I've ever played. And I couldn't walk properly for 6-7 weeks. It was horrible. All right, there's my story.
That's nearly as big as the weekend in AFL. I know what I'm telling you, Poppy. All right, let's have a talk about the weekend. A couple of things, not South Australian based, but it does happen. Adam Goodes did a little war dance. There's been a lot said about it. Of course, he said the dance was a dance that he'd learnt from a member of the under-16 team, the Boomerangs, which is an all-star Indigenous side. It was Indigenous Week. He did a dance which most people go, I didn't think it was offensive. Finished with it looked like throwing a spear into the crowd. It has been blown out of proportion. What's your take on it?
Well, my take is I don't like Adam Goodes, but I don't want my opinion to be clouded by that fact. Now, the reason I don't like Adam Goodes is I didn't like his treatment of a 13-year-old girl 12 months, 24 months ago. I thought him to highlight a 13-year-old girl, and to say that she was the face of racism was a cowardly act. So since that time, I put Adam Goodes aside. On his war dance cry, you know what? I wasn't offended by it. To be honest, I wasn't offended by it. I could see it being taken the wrong way by Carlton fans because it was aimed towards a section of Carlton supporters, and it was planned that way. And he was going to do a different dance for Swan supporters at the other end, given the opportunity. He didn't get that opportunity. Now, I get all his plans. It's just that no one knew about his plans, so they reacted in a way that they thought was confrontational. Now that all the information's come out, I'm happy to let it slide. He's an interesting character, and sometimes I think Adam Goodes is more about Adam Goodes than he is the game, or even his team. So I don't mind the act. It's just that I think it warranted at least a heated discussion, and it got that for sure.
Oh, it's amazing how it's divided the nation.
Yeah, it has.
Some people like it, some people don't. Let me ask you this, though. The next extension of that is that has the game become that sterile now that you're not allowed to show any flair? You're not allowed, I mean, a little bit of a fist pump, but anything other than that's almost seen as, oh, you're an individual. You're going back to the Jacko days of the handstand and that kind of thing. I mean, do we need a little bit of character in the game?
No question, and I'm a big supporter of that, as you know. So, and I guess that's part of the reason I wasn't offended by it. I'd hate for it to go down the side of what we see in European or EPL soccer, where you've got people bowling down their team or fishing their team in, or come on, it gets a bit over the top. But I don't want, the days of Jarman kissing the crowd, the day of Jacko doing handstand. Who cares? Well, as long as it doesn't affect the team.
Was Eddie Betts any worse when he kicked the miracle goal from the boundary line, ran to the boundary line and pumped his chest and embraced the crowd? I mean, is that any different really to what
one's celebrating with the crowd, and one, by his own admission, is doing a war dance cry at the crowd. Now, if I'm pretending to throw a spear at a crowd, that's, you know, I can see why it's confrontational. Obviously, there was no spear in his hand, and if it was very small. But the thing was...
And very dangerous.
But to see them celebrate, I think it's great. To see a footballer's personality come out, fantastic. To see Adam Goodes do what he did, I've got no problem with it.
All right, let's talk about South Australian Stephen Trigg now. Of course, he's heading the ship over in Carlton.
Yeah, tough job.
Malthouse handled it with I thought with great dignity, as well as you could under the circumstances. Now, Malthouse on the way out fired a pretty fair shot across the bow, saying that Trigg had done a deal with Betts illegally before he should have.
Yes.
Of course, the AFL jumped on it, investigated it immediately, and Trigg was clean.
Yes.
Has it helped Trigg's stature, because he wore a little bit over the Tippett saga?
Yes.
But this one has made him look like, well, he is squeaky clean.
Look, we both know, Steve, he is as good an operator as you're ever going to get in any sport, hands down. Now, he went to Carlton with a blemish on his name. He, through this period, has proven to be what he actually is, and that he's a top-line performer. I see that almost like a relationship breakup, the Malthouse Trigg, where you sit down and you say to your girlfriend, and, you know, actually the girlfriend usually says to me, listen, I've got some news for you. Some good, some bad. The good news is it's not you, it's me, but it's time to go. And I say, well, I don't like you anyway. I sort of got that from Malthouse. He threw a bomb as he was told it was time to go. And he quickly backtracked on that, because when the spotlight was on him, the facts were that they didn't stack up. So no mud should stick to Trigg or Betts or the Adelaide Football Club, and I don't think it did. A little bit of mud probably stuck to Mick, because he has held himself up so well over a long journey. I wish it ended better for Mick, because I've got a lot of time for Mick myself. So I wish it ended better, and I think he probably deserved better, but he created what he eventually had to sit in, and that was a controversy that couldn't be let go by Carlton. You can't have the tail wagging the dog, and the tail gave the dog a good shake. Yeah,
look, fortunately for Mick, 713 games, he's the record holder. Over time, that'll be forgotten, and his memory will be, you know, what a great coach he was. 2 weeks ago, Richmond play Port Adelaide at home. There's a female fan ejected from the game for calling Hooley a terrorist.
Yes.
She's suspended for 3 months from the Adelaide Oval. Both clubs handled it well. The Adelaide Football Ground staff handled it well.
Yes.
The 3 month suspension, from my point of view, is probably right.
Yes.
How did you see it?
Look, this is a really tricky area for me, because I've got mixed opinions on it again. And I go back to the Goodes example we spoke about when he highlighted the 13-year-old girl who had called him an ape and said that's the face of racism. And she said, well, I didn't mean it to be racism. So what I've learnt from that, it's not about what you say, it's about how they feel, which adds a little bit of... it's hard to identify or clarify actually what is an offensive comment and what isn't, other than to say, if you're offended by it, it's an offensive comment, whether you intended it that way or not. Terrorist is, obviously, to me, I would find that an offensive comment, and I've been called lots of things, but in this day and age, a terrorist signifies all sorts of things, and none of them are good. So, in answer to your question, is 12 weeks enough? Yeah, look, I think so. As long as she's learned a lesson in 12 weeks. Don't forget, I'm not sure, if one player called another player a terrorist, let me ask you this question, would they be suspended for 12 weeks?
There's a lot that gets said out on the ground that we don't hear about. So this one is offensive also to the people around. It's not necessarily just offensive to Hooley, but offensive to other people that are sitting in the stands.
But what happens then is a group of 12 people hear it, and it's highlighted to the population of Australia.
Yeah.
The same scenario, if a player says it to another player, whether one player or 10 players hear it, we've always grown up what happens on the field stays in the field. I'd like it to be that way. More and more it's not. But again, the question still remains, what happens to that player? Because we will hear it soon. There's homophobic comments made. There's racist comments made. Now, what is the right suspension for a player that is the first to make that? Is it going to be 12 weeks? Because there's a precedent now.
Okay, well, the right thing is not to say it.
Agree.
That's the right thing. Not to say anything, not to test the waters on whether it's offensive or not. Just don't say anything. I don't think there's a need for trash talking. I never got involved in it, never liked it, and I think...
What, not even a chewy on your sneakers?
Nothing. I just don't think it's a good thing.
Army boots?
I heard plenty. I wore plenty, but never gave any back because I just didn't think it was the right thing.
This is the player that said he wouldn't play against Magic Johnson if he had the HIV
virus. Yes. Which later on everyone said, well, hang on, that's a reasonable question.
I mean, that made world headlines.
Yes,
but isn't it amazing how an innocuous comment from an experienced person like yourself can be taken out of context on a world stage. Now, you had to confront that head on.
Absolutely, yes.
Had to confront it head on.
Yeah, and it was a frightening time. I had threats on my life and everything. So,
yeah.
But it shows you the power of the media. All right, quickly, Jane Woodlands
You've
Thompson.
glossed over that one quickly.
Yeah, Jane Woodlands Thompson. Coached her last game for the Thunderbirds.
Yes.
Warren Partland's been giving a fair bit of mileage to Jane that she could
likes the
become
women's sports,
a
Warren.
high-performance manager,
Yes.
perhaps in the AFL. Any chance at all that we could see Jane Woodlands Thompson fill a role as a high-performance manager in the AFL?
I wouldn't have thought so. I think I doubt there's many roles. Oh, look, the most qualified people in AFL, at the elite level of AFL football, given the money that's involved, the most qualified people will get an opportunity. Or the most experienced person will get the opportunity. I don't think she's in that. I don't think she's in the second category.
Yeah.
Maybe at an SANFL club. Maybe I don't know. I was
just hoping for a yes or no answer.
Yeah, you know me.
No.
over the no. But over the journey, there has been examples of women getting involved. I think
Glenys Nunn did it. Pat Micken did it with the Crows.
Jack Sterling. So there have been
Yep.
times where they're given
in the
an
right area.
opportunity. In the right area.
All right, quickly, we've got to get onto this. You've sat down for the first time this year, watched the AFL, so you've got no history of previous players.
Okay.
Travis Boak or Patrick Dangerfield?
So
You've
how
got
long
the
have I
first
seen?
pick.
So
You've seen 8 games.
Okay.
8 games.
Okay.
Well, round 9, are you going to pick Patrick Dangerfield or Travis Boak? First pick comes to you, based just on this season so far.
Good question. Boak's been consistent during the 8 weeks. Dangerfield has been more brilliant at times, and I really like, to me, the weekend highlighted
His
what
match up
he's
with
capable
Fife.
of.
Sure.
Matched up against Fife. Fife, mind you,
Phew.
probably your best on ground again.
Yep.
But Dangerfield proved what he can do, and I really like Dangerfield actually against Port Adelaide in the showdown as well, because it was a game that made people lift to another level. I would choose Dangerfield.
All right, I'm going with Boak. I think if you're... anyway, we have
If I said Boak, what would you say? Dangerfield?
Yeah, well, of course, just to make it interesting. Look, we've got to go to a break. Plenty more to come.
Okay.
Stay with us, folks.
Need to sell your car? Tried the internet and don't want strangers at your house? Give it to us, CarNet Auctions Adelaide, and if we don't sell it for you, we won't charge you a thing. Visit our website, caa.com.au, and ask for Darren. He will sell your car the easy way, no sale, no charge. CarNet Auctions, Grand Junction Road, Athol Park.
Sports Centre is South Australia's leading lawn bowls apparel supplier. With over 40 years' experience in designing, manufacturing and supplying sporting apparel, we have revitalised the look of tired and aged clubs and made them progressive, vibrant and the envy of other clubs. Sports Centre creates original designs to suit your club, and we supply a full range of bowls apparel that will ensure your club looks its best. Whether you need polos, vests, all-weather jackets, long or short pants, socks and caps, we have it all, so you won't need to travel far and wide across the city. Sports Centre is your one-stop bowls apparel specialist outlet.